Today, I'm going to build out a custom flip card interaction that I'm going to use and put into Articulate Rise using the new code block. Now I'm going to use Chat GPT and I'm going to vibe code this thing so that I can create myself a custom interactable that has some content. We're going to customize the look and feel as well as a background, and then we're going to test it out inside of Rise just to make sure that it works. My name's Destery, and if you guys are all ready, let's vibe. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to use ChatGPT 5.2 as my AI tool of choice. And we're going to create ourselves a brand new chat. And then we're going to go ahead and enable one other feature before we get started. And we're going to hit that little plus sign on the left-hand side, and we're going to change it to canvas mode. Now, canvas mode allows us to talk and see not only the code, but an actual working prototype along the way. And there's a canvas mode in the majority of the tools out there. You don't have to use ChatGPT. This is just the one that I had in front of me at the time. You could use Claude, Gemini. They're all going to work a little bit different, and your results are going to be just a little bit different. Now, here's our first prompt. And you can see, because of that canvas mode, we can select preview and we can test it out. All right, so just out of the box, looks like a pretty good 4-card split. We've got 2x2. We've had it customize our palette and our fonts for us. Now, obviously, I'm giving ChatGPT here quite a bit of leeway. If you had a brand guide of some kind, you could upload that to this chat and you could use that along the way. So let's make our cards just a little bit taller. And let's make sure that all of our content stays centered throughout as well. Okay, so I don't really like what it did on that last one there. We wanted to center the content up. And if we look behind the scenes, what we're going to see is that this content is now centered within the window, but it kind of squished everything up here. So we're going to have to address that at some point. Let's see if we can increase our width just a little bit more. Increase the width. Everything's squished now. It's a very particular and very specific and important prompt that we put in there. So we've got some information that it's telling us what it did there on the left-hand side. And again, on the right-hand side, we're seeing that preview inside of there because we're in canvas mode. And it didn't really adjust very much, but I think I'm going to come back to that here in just a little bit. Let's start to clean up exactly what the cards themselves look like. Now, if you see on the front of the cards, we do have a tap again to return. We could add some instructions without having to put it on the actual card itself. So we'll remove that. Looking good, we've taken it out, and nothing else has changed. Now, one thing I would recommend along the way is that if you do find that your tool of choice, right, whatever AI tool you decide to use, if it starts to change things that you don't want it to, one of the sentences you could put at the end of each of your prompts could be, don't change anything that I don't ask you to change. Something along those lines. You could always put a document that you could train it on as well that says, hey, don't change anything unless I'm telling you to specifically. If you have questions, ask them in order to make the changes I am requesting. Okay, so let's go ahead here and let's take a look at our background. If you've ever used Articulate Rise, you'll know that there's a lot of east-west space. So I always try to put some sort of a dynamic background in there just so that it gives it a little bit of life, right? Something in the background that maybe subtly moves and can kind of breathe. And it could be just some sort of dynamic shapes, some sort of dynamic element. And in this case, I did not specify, so our tool decided slanted lines was the way to go. I don't think I would have thought of that, but I don't hate it. Let's see how it goes. All right, let's adjust it a little bit though, because we've got a couple issues. We've got two tones, we've got our colors that aren't quite working where we want them to go, and Uh, I think that we want to have this. We might have some transparency issues here too with behind the cards and the background itself. Okay, so, all right, well, it just made the two tones darker a little bit, but there's still a distinct separation. And I think that's something we're going to have to address here and specifically call it out and say, hey, we don't want it to be that way. And as I mentioned, we do have that transparency issue. There is a solid color behind the actual flip cards themselves. Again, as I'm seeing these things live, this really isn't all that scripted. As I'm seeing things, I'm just telling the tool, hey, I need this to change. I don't like this, right? As you can see along the way, sometimes I spell things right, sometimes I don't. But most of the tools that I use, they can get the understanding of what it is that I'm trying to do. All right, so in this one here, we're going to go ahead and say to remove that background. By doing that, we actually removed the other issue that we were running into, which was the two tones of the actual color. And I think that I'm going to roll with this because I don't really, I don't mind it all that much. We'll see how that slanted dynamic element in the background works. We're sort of hugging the top here, and I think what I want to have happen is let's go ahead and center the content on the page itself, regardless of what screen size that it's on. All right, so we adjusted it, it moved it down. I think that'll work for us. Now, we do have some instructions. A little while ago, we took away some of the instructions that were on the actual cards themselves. But we have this little line of text here, and what I'd like to do, I'm going to go ahead and just grab a screen capture of that and paste it into the instructions so that ChatGPT knows exactly what we're doing. And I'm going to say, hey, let's move this down to the bottom, underneath the cards themselves. As you can see, it did that. However, it still left it up at the very top because I didn't specifically say, hey, we're not just duplicating it, we're removing it. So let's go ahead and say, remove the text at the top. That was moved to the bottom. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of doing one thing at a time here. And that's where I find that I have the most success when I'm prompting for anything inside of one of these AI tools. So not only do I get lost, but sometimes the AI tool gets lost as well, and we don't want to lose any of the progress that we're making. Okay, so let's go back to our width issue here, and let's see if it can do that for us. That way we have that all set and ready to go. Okay, so nothing happened. All right, what's going on here? Let's take a look at what it gave us information-wise. And we could just say, hey, they didn't adjust. What's preventing this from happening? And by doing that, we seem to have scared it into following that first one that we did just a little bit ago. All right, a little bit of magic involved as well as science in this particular case. Okay, well, our cards are wider. Let's go ahead and roll with that for right now. And if we need to adjust them anymore, we can kind of come back and reevaluate what's going on here. Now, let's take a look at the actual style of our cards. And I like the fronts. I think I would like to adjust a few things, but let's focus on the back of the cards. And what I would like it to do is take a sample of the image from the sample of the image on the front of the card, and let's create a border that uses that particular color, right? So we'll just create a border, accent border, use an accent color border on the back of each of the cards from the image in the front. Okay, so, well, this doesn't look exactly like what we're hoping for. However, again, we're going to have to trust the process here because it is still doing things on the left-hand side. Sometimes you'll see these things happen halfway through. Don't panic. Let it finish. And if you still have an issue, then we can address it. But as you can see in this case, it just had to think for a little bit longer and catch up with itself. So here we are. We're going to flip those over, and hey, look at that. We've got some really handy little borders on the back end. Now, any of these types of stylistic choices, any of these changes, any of these different things that you want to do, by all means, you can go in and you can do that. Whether you're just kind of making it up as you go, whether you're trying to be creative for a client or your organization, or if you have a brand guide and styles that you need to follow, you can also do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of, on the top right-hand side of each of the cards, on the front, it says tap to flip. Let's get rid of that, because I think we're going to be okay with that instruction at the bottom. We'll probably have to review this in the end for some accessibility things, but I like the instruction on the bottom. So let's send that in. Let's remove that bubble on the top right-hand side, and boom. All right, so we're gone. Now, I don't hate what's happening in the bottom left-hand sides, but I'm not 100% sold on it. So I'd like to adjust it just a little bit. So let's get rid of the bubble behind each of the titles on the bottom left-hand side, and then let's color them. And we can kind of take the same approach we did for our accent border on the back. Let's go ahead and pull an accent color, and let's add that color in, as well as let's make them bold and a little bit bigger. All right. I like that. I like what it did. All right, so let's go ahead here and let's adjust it even more. And let's take a look at our title at the top. Right now, the name of this experience seems to be Flipkart Interaction, and that's a little too on the nose. So we need to go ahead and adjust that just a little bit. Let's give it a test and see. I think we can get away with doing something just that short for a prompt. I don't know. Let's try it out, see what happens. All right, no, we cannot. However, it looks like ChatGPT thought we were still working on the titles on the bottom left of the actual cards themselves. And it brought it down just a little bit, but it did add a little dynamic element, a little shape there, an underline in the front, that I think we'll go ahead and we'll keep for now. So now let's go ahead and give it a little bit more instruction. Adjust the main title of the page to reflect the cards. And let's see what it gives us here. And here we go. Explore natural environments. We got a new title and a new subtitle, and everything seems to be working pretty well. Okay, so I think that's all the adjustments we're going to make here. Now, next what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and because it's just an HTML, CSS, JavaScript sort of cocktail right now, you could put it into any web page or any place that you want that supports web-based objects. When it comes to the majority of the projects I've been working on lately, I've been putting most of them into Articulate Rise and using the new code block inside of there, because Articulate Rise is a really handy rapid authoring solution. And now that we can add in some of these more dynamic elements using that new code block, we can really kind of enhance what it is that we're sending over. We don't have to purchase any additional plugins or anything to work with it. So we're going to go ahead and hop over into Rise. Now for this one here, I just created a quick little micro-learning course. I haven't really customized it a whole lot. Let's go ahead and just change the title and create a code block. We're going to open our block library, select code block, and we're just going to use the empty code block, the solid one, that top option there. And let's copy our code over into this code block. We got to flip this little toggle switch up top here. Copy that code. Let's go ahead and hop on over to our code block once again. And then we'll paste it in. There we go. And now we will test it out. So everything's working the way we wanted it to. And as you can see, all of the functionality is there. Now that's it for today's example. So there will be more examples coming along the way. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel to make sure that you are alerted when new videos come up. Not only will I be doing more videos, but also on this channel here at Vibe Dojo, Jeff Batt will also be putting things together. There's also some courses coming down the road. Add your comments below. Remember, the prompts are in the description below, and we'll see you next time when we vibe some more.